Have you ever wondered why Amsterdam has more bicycles than people, and yet somehow fewer bicycle seats than you'd expect? It's not because the Dutch hate sitting. It's because in Amsterdam, bicycles aren't just transport. They're semi-aquatic creatures that occasionally migrate into the canals, never to return. The city that floats, sinks, and still invites you in. If you stand in the middle of Dam Square and close your eyes, you can almost hear it, the gentle creak of 17th century wood under your feet. The whole city is built on about 11 million wooden piles driven into swampy ground. These aren't your IKEA pre-drilled dowels. They're ancient tree trunks that have been quietly holding up houses for centuries, like tired old men pretending not to mind the weight. Amsterdam is sinking. Not in the dramatic Titanic way, but in the slow, I'll deal with it later way. Some houses lean toward each other like gossiping neighbors. Others lean forward as if they're about to confess a deep secret about the East India Company. You'll spot these crooked facades everywhere, proof that even in perfect urban planning, gravity has a sense of humor. The canals, Europe's longest lazy river. The canals are beautiful, peaceful, romantic. Also, accidental bicycle graveyards. With over 165 canals, Amsterdam has more waterways than Venice. But unlike Venice, you're more likely to spot a lost shopping cart or a moped in the water here. Each year, the city fishes out an estimated 12,000 to 15,000 bicycles from the canals. Some say it's theft. Others say it's gravity. I say it's Amsterdam's way of feeding the canal gods. Whatever the reason, remember, if you rent a bike, lock it to something sturdy. And if it disappears, just wave at the nearest boat tour. They're probably gliding over it. Coffee shops, but not for coffee. Now, here's the awkward bit. If you see a sign for a coffee shop and think you're about to enjoy a nice cappuccino, you might, but you also might be offered a menu that requires legal disclaimers. Amsterdam's coffee shops are famous for selling cannabis in many creative forms. Brownies, pre-rolls, space cakes, none of which will help you stay awake for sightseeing. A legal quirk allows for personal use inside these places, but it's technically not legal to produce it. It's a Dutch paradox, like a bicycle that doesn't fall over but isn't moving. For actual coffee, you want a cafe. See the difference? No? Neither do most tourists until it's too late and they're giggling at a fridge magnet for 45 minutes. The secret rooms above the city. Hidden above many old buildings are what the Dutch call sober lofts. Secret spaces where Catholics once worshipped in private during the 17th century, when public Catholic services were banned. The most famous is Ons Lieve Heer op Zolder, Our Lord in the Attic. A fully functioning church hidden inside a canal house. It's beautiful, yes. But also, imagine building an entire church inside your attic without the neighbors noticing. Either the soundproofing was incredible, or Amsterdammers were too polite to ask why there were so many people going up those stairs every Sunday. Food that's better than it sounds. The Dutch aren't exactly famous for haute cuisine, but Amsterdam has snacks that sneak up on you. Herring, raw herring, is served with onions and pickles, and locals tilt their heads back to eat it whole. It's not as terrifying as it sounds, more like sushi that's already dressed for the party. Then there's stroopwafels, two thin waffles stuck together with caramel syrup. They were invented in Gouda, the cheese city, which proves that if the Dutch can't make something delicious, they'll just put sugar in it until they can. And don't forget patat oorlog, fries with mayonnaise, peanut satay sauce, and raw onions. The name literally means war fries, possibly because the flavors are fighting for your attention. Museums that aren't about Van Gogh. Yes, the Van Gogh Museum is wonderful, but Amsterdam has museums for almost everything else too. There's the Micropia Museum, which is all about microbes. You can see the bacteria living on your own skin magnified 100,000 times. It's the only museum that makes you question every handshake you've ever had. Prove humans have always been a bit too creative when bored. There's also the Torture Museum, which sounds like a metal band but is actually a collection of medieval devices that, and for something lighter, the Cat and Cabinet, a museum entirely dedicated to cats and art. Because if there's one thing humans have always agreed on, It's that cats belong everywhere, even in oil paintings. The red light reality check. The red light district is one of Amsterdam's biggest tourist draws, but it's not the wild, lawless place many imagine. It's actually one of the most regulated areas in the city. The workers rent their windows, pay taxes, and operate under strict rules for safety. Photography of workers is banned, and security cameras watch everything. Which means if you think you're sneaking a picture for Instagram, you're actually starring in a very boring police review later. The narrowest house, and other small things. On Single 7, you'll find the narrowest house in Amsterdam, only 1 meter wide. Technically, it's just the front facade that's that narrow, but it's enough to make you wonder how they fit in a bed, let alone a sofa. And speaking of small things, some bridges here have love-lock bands. The city removes them regularly because the extra weight can damage the structure. In a place where houses lean and streets flood, they take no chances with romantic gestures. The unexpected soundtrack of the city. If you wake up early in Amsterdam, you might hear an odd mix: the distant ding of tram bells, the slap of water against boat hulls, and the creak of bicycle chains. It's almost meditative. But then, a scooter will roar past at 50 kilometers per hour, and you'll remember that the city, for all its calm charm, moves fast when it wants to. The city that lets you be you. Amsterdam is a city where rules exist but don't feel heavy, where history lives in the bricks, and where a casual walk can turn into a story you'll be telling for years. You'll leave with sore legs, a full stomach, and maybe a postcard you drew yourself after 3 hours in a canal-side cafe. If you visit, bring curiosity, good shoes, and the ability to laugh when your plans change, because in Amsterdam, they will. And that's exactly how it should be. So, will you wander the crooked streets and let the city tilt you a little too? Pack your bag, rent a bike, and lock it twice, and see what stories Amsterdam tells you. And if you enjoyed this trip from your screen, just imagine what happens when you actually step on the cobblestones. Like, share, and subscribe, or the canal gods might take your bike next.